few days ago I made some videos talking about Baudrillard and the orders of simulacra, the orders of simulation that he talks about in the book Simulacra and Simulations. And one of the things that I always find confusing, not so much confusing, but I don't really feel as if I truly understand, is this final order of simulation he talks about. But I just run through the first couple just to clarify. The first, this isn't quite right, but the first is the copy of an original. The second is the copy that masks the presence of the original. And the third, which is the one that I'm interested in right now and having difficulty with, is the copy that masks the absence of an original. And it's always been difficult. I think, yeah, I've always found it quite difficult to find a good example of that, which is one of the reasons why I've never really understood it. But one's occurred to me. I'm not sure how valid it is, but I'll give it a try. A few weeks back I was at a graduation ceremony for some of my students, and well, everybody, not just me, but we ought to wear these robes, these ceremonial gowns that you wear, and a ceremonial hat, to go through this process. And the particular gown and hat that you wear depends upon which university you graduated from. They're all pretty similar, but the colours are slightly different, the cut is slightly different, they're emblazoned with different kinds of emblems, that kind of thing. And the one I wear is a rather fetching affair. It's a kind of claret and blue, a bit like West Ham or Burnley colours, football team colours. Claret and blue, with these little coats of arms down the front. I can't remember what's on the coat of arms, but it's a kind of heraldic little symbol that runs down the front in a repeating pattern. You know, it's quite attractive, and it's not too dissimilar from all the rest that other people are wearing. But I graduated, the university that I graduated from was what they call a new university, which means that up until about, I don't know, 20 years ago, it wasn't a university. It was what they call a polytechnic. It was a kind of technical college. It didn't award degrees. It was really, its main aim was to serve industry and provide, you know, trainees for industry, for engineering and for textile industries, whatever it was. So 20 years ago, I think it was called Manchester Polytechnic, but now it's called Manchester Metropolitan University, and that's the one that I graduated from. And when it became a new university, it was granted degree awarding powers, which meant it could confer degrees on people like myself, which meant that it had to put people through degree ceremonies, and it had to provide gowns for these people so that they could wear them at other people's degree ceremonies, which is how I came to be wearing this claret and blue affair a few weeks ago at the graduation of my students. But of course, because it's a new university, like many other new universities, it hasn't got a history. Its history doesn't stretch back to a time when people actually wore gowns, or when heraldry actually meant something. So this claret and blue affair is an entirely fictitious piece of clothing, really. It looks like it belongs to a history, in the way that the gowns from Oxford or Cambridge or Durham or some of the older universities looks like. It looks like it belongs to a kind of history, but actually it doesn't. It's been invented out of whole cloth, so to speak, to serve the kind of needs of these traditions, of these ceremonies. So it's not a copy, clearly, and it's not a copy that masks the presence of an original. You know, the gowns from the older universities, you know, they kind of mask the presence of the original. They don't. They're ceremonial versions of what were practical garments at one point, and that practical garment aspect of them is completely masked by their ceremonial function. So those gowns from older universities mask the presence of the original. There was actually an original, you just can't see it because of the ceremonial qualities of the new one. But gowns like mine from a new university, there's no original that they're masking. In fact, they mask the absence of an original, because universities are supposed to have that kind of authentic relationship to history. They are supposed to have that kind of close relationships into the slow accumulation of knowledge that history represents. And because new universities don't have that, they have to simulate it, and they simulate it using Baudrillard's third order of simulation, in which this simulacra of a claret and blue West Ham coloured gown that I was wearing, with fake coats of arms down the front, masks the fact that there is no original. It masks its absence. I think that's right. That's the best example I've found so far, at least, for a Baudrillardian simulacra.